Airbnb's failure in China was due to neither the pandemic nor geopolitical tensions. It was because the US online rental marketplace wasn't China enough. Let's talk about Airbnb. As many of you may heard, the internet firm is moving out of China. It will shut down all its listings and experiences there from July the 30th, but will keep operating outbound travel business in the country. China has the world's largest population of 1.4 billion people, and it's very famous for sharing. Share bikes are everywhere. You can easily rent out a power bank if you are out. And you know what we Chinese eat? We put every dishes together, and everybody around the table can pick things from them. It's kind of like a buffet, so sharing is really in our blood. It seems the Chinese market couldn't be more suitable for a business model that aims to rent out your empty room to whoever is in need. But why is Airbnb out? The company said the decision was made in the face of the challenges of the pandemic. Well, indeed, China's relatively strict COVID control measures have complicated international travels. The absence of the huge number of Chinese tourists definitely hurt Airbnb. However, traveling inside the country or even inside a city is becoming a trend here in the past 2 years. So if that's the case, Airbnb's China office shouldn't have given up the domestic market. Instead, it should have suspended its overseas sector. According to its earnings report of 2020 and 2021, Airbnb also tried to attribute its disappointing China performance to the more complex China-US relations. Yes, it's from San Francisco, so of course it has to be careful about the tensions between the world's two largest economies. However, there are risks, not triggers. At least not like the Japanese law introduced in 2018 known as Minpaku, that directly forced Airbnb to remove 80% of its listings in Japan. But what else? What really nudged the online platform out of China? As I read hundreds of comments tied to the news, I found the most frequent complaint was lack of localization. Let me get this straight. Airbnb's failure in China was due to neither the pandemic nor geopolitical tensions. It was because the US online rental marketplace wasn't China enough. It reflects in many ways. For example, Airbnb started to run China business in the middle of 2015. But almost 2 years later, the brand finally got a local name and customer services in Chinese. This is like I open a self-service car wash in the United States, and when people meet problems and come up to me and I say, hey, you're gonna learn Mandarin first. Airbnb's Chinese name, 爱比营, means welcome each other with love. It sounds really romantic, but sorry, local consumers didn't buy it, as they complain about the torture pronunciation and it's hard to get upon. For many years, Airbnb only accepted credit cards or bank transfers for payment in China, while correspondence and invoices were sent via email. This might work in the West, but not in China. I use payment apps 99.99% of the time, so I don't have a credit card. And in fact, a couple of super apps dominate my life. So that's why I probably wouldn't be keen to switch to a different tool, what I normally wouldn't use for payment or customer interactions. Why wouldn't I just go to a different website? Look, I'm not saying China's uniqueness is right or wrong. What I'm saying is when you play a game, don't try to change the rule or you will be quickly kicked out of the competition. It seems Airbnb was fully aware of this as it changed its China head 7 times after it entered in 2015, but still struggled to adapt to local culture. Media report that by 2020, Airbnb had about 150,000 properties on offer in China. The number for its local competitor, Tujia, was 1.2 million. And after 7 years of efforts, Airbnb's bookings in China only account for about 1% of its overall revenue. So the pandemic was just a factor that worsened its costly operations in China. To be honest, I really like Airbnb. It's easy to use, the room descriptions are accurate, and I have a lot of good memories with their hosts. It's just painful to see a company make the same mistake that many other foreign companies have already made here. Companies like Airbnb, Uber, and eBay couldn't win in China. But by the same token, Apple, McDonald's, and even WeWork have all performed well in this arena. China has never been an easy market, so in order to get its taste, maybe start from getting a good name.